What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. You know I have another banger for y'all today, so kick back, relax, and come take a ride with your boy. Now, the fans and the media are calling for Coach Christie side's head of the Indiana Fever after she completely sold last night's game to the Chicago Sky. She has been mediocre at best on the sidelines, hindering the development of this team. I want to take a look, because I think she's definitely on the hot seat. So I want to take a look at 4 possible replacements to come in and take over for head coach Christie Sides at some point during Caitlin Clark's tenure in the near future. But before we get into all of that, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. Join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So, just going through this list, I'm going to start with the 2 most likely candidates. There's going to be one candidate that is a huge reach and the money would have to be right. But these are just scenarios I'm going through based on situation, job security, and scheme and fit, and the ability to develop young talent, which the Fever have a lot of. Right now, Christie Sides is completely hindering the development of this team. She continues to take the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hand. She continues to play veterans like Christy Wallace and Erica Wheeler over young talent like Lauren Hull, Celeste Taylor, Grace Berger, Saxton, the list goes on. We have not seen the full potential of this team yet, and they really saved her, I think, with that 4-game winning streak. It cooled the hot seat a bit, even though it was the players out there executing, man. It wasn't Sides making any adjustments. We saw her shortcomings when she was out-coached by Coach Teresa Witherspoon of the Chicago Sky yesterday. They were up 12 heading to the 4th. No adjustments made. The Sky go on a 9-0 run, trim to this lead. The Fever looks exhausted. They're getting beat down the floor by Angel Reese. She is just turning Nalissa Smith into barbecue chicken the whole game. No adjustments being made. No switches to put Aaliyah Boston on. Just no type of adjustment. She completely sold this game. She completely sold this game, y'all. She got out-coached, outmatched, and she is the reason why this team was not put in position to succeed. If this team had any one of the coaches that I'm about to name, they would easily have 10 wins and be looking like a prime playoff contender. But instead, they're stuck in this Christie Sides half-court offense. They got the Showtime Lakers personnel with the speed and the elite court vision of Caitlin Clark, but they're playing like they're in the half-court offense in an Ivy League somewhere, man. Take the shackles off of Caitlin Clark. It's getting wicked out here. With no further ado, I should say, let's get into these coaches. So I think the most obvious one would be Coach Lisa Bluder, who coached Caitlin Clark 4 years at Iowa, and we really saw her turn into the superstar she now is under Bluder's tutelage. Bluder put over 20 years in at Iowa, man, but her last 2 seasons were definitely her best. They won 30-plus games in consecutive years and played for 2 national championships. We know the system, the run and gun, the connection, the chemistry she already has with Caitlin, being able to put the ball in her hands, open the floor up, space and pace, and get up and down the court. This team has that ability to run the same thing Iowa is running. They have very balanced scoring attack. They have guards that can get up and down the floor that are just sitting on the bench. They have defensive players that can really cause havoc on the perimeter that are not getting any minutes. Bluder already has the trust of Clark. She has guided her the last 4 years into what she's become today. Every year Clark was at Iowa, the offense scored higher than the previous year. Bluder has been, I've seen discussions of her possibly, having dinner with the Indiana Fever owners in Iowa. She's been at multiple games. She understands how to get the most out of their superstar, and this team needs to be built around Caitlin Clark. She is the focal point. She needs to be the number 1 option. She needs to have the ball in her hands where she's able to get in transition and keep defenders on their heels. Bluder was really successful at Iowa with Caitlin Clark, man. They reached heights that the program had never seen before. Now, I know Bluder put a lot of work in. She's coached a lot of years, and she is in retirement currently. But would the intrigue of being reunited with her program's best player ever be enough to bring her out of retirement? Could Caitlin convince her? Could they bring some more Iowa Hawkeyes to the lineup as well? I think that is just the most natural fit. And I think if there was a change made like this season immediately, that would be the most logical choice. But does Bluder want to get back into coaching? Would she serve better as in like a front office role? You know what I'm saying? In management, decision, analyst, you know what I'm saying? Advisor, something in that role. Does she want to take on the grit and the grind of the WNBA season after putting so much time in the college game? She's been around a lot, though, and I think, maybe she misses it. Maybe she misses that just the love of the game, man, that intensity, that competitiveness. I think Bluder would be the most logical choice. I don't know if she's the most realistic, but she's definitely the most logical in my opinion, just because of the chemistry. You build this team around Clark, you bring her college coach in, and I think they scored 10 more points per game. They got Caitlin out there running, gunning, making decisions, and not just tossing it into the post. So that would be an immediate fix, I think, to move on from Christie sides and to bring in Coach Lisa Bluder. Another college coach I think that they should consider, who I also saw that maybe drawing some interest from this ownership, is Kara Lawson, WNBA legend, international star, won multiple gold medals, and has really she's coached with the Boston Celtics as well. Like, she has really just seen the game at every level. She runs a pro-style offense and system down there at Duke, where she has rebuilt that program in the last 3 seasons. Taking over during COVID is no joke. That was the hardest time, I think, to be a coach in sports at this point. But I think her demeanor and her system would translate very well in the WNBA. As a coach, Lawson coached Team USA to a gold medal in the 3v3 basketball circuit. They defeated China 18-15 in the title match. Back in February of 2024, she was also announced as the assistant coach for the U.S. Women's Olympic basketball team for the 2024 Summer Games in Paris. And that just shows you she's used to working with elite talent and a lot of different type of personalities and play styles. She won a WNBA championship. She's coached with the Celtics, like we mentioned. Since she's been at Duke, she's got a 68-33 overall record. She's won 20-plus games in back-to-back seasons and made the NCAA tournament. They made a Sweet 16 run this year with a very, very young team. But if you look at the way Duke plays, first off, man, and also we got to mention she was crucial in helping Marcus Smart, who was also Defensive Player of the Year. So you imagine what Lawson would do to up Caitlin Clark's defense? I mean, it's already been much improved since her time at Iowa, but with a coach like Lawson who emphasizes that, I think that would greatly improve. And then you learn from a point guard who's played many years in the WNBA, who's had success on the court and off the court. We see the system at Duke. It's a well-balanced oil machine. She plays a lot of players, throws out different rotations, and she's one that has gotten the best out of her talent. She's developed talent while she's been at Duke, and she's coached some really good players. I think her knowledge of the game, her competitive edge, more fire. She will have a lot more to say on the sidelines. She is one that has really been good with making in-game adjustments on the fly, and she's one of the great basketball minds in women's college basketball. She's just getting started, so it may be tough to pull her away from the likes of Duke. The price would definitely have to be right, but it's not the same situation as one of our other coaches we'll talk about that could be a potential replacement. But Lawson is the goods, man. She understands X's and O's. She's a motivator. She's a teacher, and I think she would be good to help mold a lot of this young talent. A franchise that's really lacking leadership in the locker room right now. I think Lawson would come in and fix that. I think practices would be more intense, and I think overall they would compete harder. I think, too, she has those ties with Celeste Taylor as well, who is a player that they drafted that I thought would be a great asset and complementary piece to Caitlin Clark, just with her defensive ability, her ability to shoot the basketball. That is somebody that will get up and down the floor, and Clark can hit for easy shots on the wing. So having that, those ties on the roster, having coached some of this young talent before, having, engaged with these women also in the international stage. She's coaching some of the best talent in the WNBA, going to the Olympic Games. So, she knows what greatness looks like, and she knows what it takes to win, and she's been coaching at the highest level, men and women's. So I think her expertise could really be beneficial to just the overall development and establishing an identity and culture within this Indiana Fever franchise. Another coach, now this is the last college coach on the list. This is a long shot, and I understand that, and I'm going on the limb and saying that right now. But if Dawn Staley was to leave South Carolina, it would have to be for a WNBA job. The thing is, though, would the money be right? If she stays at South Carolina until 2027, she has a chance to make $3.5 million. She's already making double what the highest paid coach in the WNBA makes. So the money would absolutely have to be right. And we're talking about Dawn Staley, who's won multiple national championships. South Carolina just built a freaking statue for her, for crying out loud. And she is the most elite coach right now in women's college hoops. She's setting the standard at South Carolina. And she built that program from the ground up. She's developed so much talent, so many draft picks that have come from there. Of course, the obvious connection with Aaliyah Boston. Do they have to choose between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah at some point? I don't know. The thing is, though, Coach Staley's style would have to adjust somewhat to Caitlin Clark's, because she's definitely been a coach that really thrives on getting the ball down low and feeding the bigs. But recently, we've seen the offense open up with better guard play. The guards have come in, the Pow-Pows of the world, the Raven Johnsons. She allows her point guards to operate. Malaysia Full-Wiley, we've seen the development of her. Like, we see that she will not shackle her players. She will let them play free through mistakes. They can play fast. They can get up and down the court. Defensive intensity. I think they have the personnel to where Dawn Staley could really turn this into a championship team sooner than later. Staley's a 3-time national champion, 2017, 2022, and then most recently 2024. She's led South Carolina to consecutive undefeated regular seasons, 6 Final Fours, 8 SEC tournament championships, 8 regular season championships in the SEC. She's a 4-time coach of the year as well. The resume speaks for itself. Her career at South Carolina, she is 440 and 106. 440 and 106. And you look at it, and in the past 5 years, they've won at least 32 games. A whole lot of winning going on right there, man. So I think this would be the long shot. They would have to come with a serious bag. They would have to make Dawn Staley the highest paid coach in the WNBA by far. But I think her ability to develop young talent would go tremendous with this group. There's so much. I mean, you got Nalissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston still developing. Of course, Caitlin Clark, Celeste Taylor. Like, there's a lot. Grace Berger. There's a lot of young talent that needs to be developed and needs to earn playing time. And I think Dawn Staley's one of those coaches that's a motivator, that will bring the best out of this group, that was one of the most successful guards in WNBA history, was a college star. So she understands what it takes to win, and she's coached some of the greatest talents that the league has seen currently right now. So long shot, I know, but I definitely think if they have a chance to at least shoot their shot, if they can pull the funds together, Dawn Staley definitely needs to be a name that should be, contacted, at least inquire about it. Last but not least is a former WNBA coach, Corey Gaines, who played in the NBA, coached in the NBA. He's been with the Washington Wizards. He was the head coach of the Phoenix Mercury, won a title with them. Diana Taurasi was the scoring leader, won scoring title and MVP in the same year. If he can get the goods out of Taurasi like that, imagine him with Caitlin Clark, man. You see just he studied under Paul Westhead, who was known for the run and gun offense. And you talk about pace and space and getting up and down the court. Think about those 2000s Phoenix Mercury's teams, how they ran teams off the court. right? This is a guy that's experienced, that has won. He's currently coaching with Japan's men's national team on that staff for the Tokyo Olympics, but has played internationally, has played overseas, has played in the NBA, has coached in the NBA, has won a title in the WNBA, is, you know what I'm saying? So just that pedigree of what he's done and looking at it a little bit. Like we said, under his tutelage, Diana Taurasi became the second player in WNBA history to win the regular season scoring title and the WNBA MVP award. So he lets his guards play free, and with Caitlin Clark being able to just get more shots, draw up stuff for her off ball, which I think all these coaches would do, because there's no plays being run from her at this point. I think that would be a really that would be stopped very short, man. Like, they would definitely be, all these coaches I think would get her in space and not have her going ISO every game. He was also named the general manager of the Phoenix Mercury at one time too. So just looking at it, you're getting a really good, well-rounded basketball mind, to the point where he understands personnel and putting pieces together out there that succeed on the court from a general manager standpoint, a personnel standpoint, but also as a coach with a WNBA title. And he's the only coach on this list with a WNBA title. Now, I get it, Christie Sides, still in her second year, young group. She's coming over trying to make her impact, but this team has outgrown her. They're ready to win now. They have the talent to win now. Can one of these coaches mesh Kelsey Mitchell with Caitlin Clark more? We've seen a lot of these coaches manage a lot of different talent. They all bring different characteristics to the table, but I think they all would be a major upgrade over Christie Sides. I'm going to just go out there and say that, man. She's hindering the development of Caitlin Clark and this Indiana Fever team. I don't understand why Erica Wheeler is getting minutes at all. Get her out of there. As soon as Caitlin Clark heats up, we see Christie Sides being Christie Sides, taking her out and turning the keys over to Wheeler. Makes no sense. They went away from what was working in that game against the Chicago Sky and sold it. And shout out to the Sky, because they obviously wanted it more. But imagine if even T. Spoon was the head coach of this Fever team, man. Easily 10 wins. You cannot waste a year of no potential on this group on Christie Sides. They are not going to get better under her leadership. There's not going to be a culture established, and I just think they need a presence in that locker room to lead the way, and leadership is lacking right now in Indiana, to the point where Caitlin Clark has had to really step up and be super vocal, even though the vets in the locker room are there, just not offering much. But those are just some coaches I'm throwing out there. Y'all let me know if y'all have any other names in mind. Comment, holler at your boy, let me know. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.